Students, I am Deepak Bhabur from New Catholic Mission School, Jhabwa. Dear students, I welcome you to this English class. Students of 9th class, we are going to study today a lesson, 6th lesson. This is from Moment book. The name of the 6th lesson is Weathering the Storm in Erasma. This is the name of the place. It is written by Harsh Mandir. Dear students, the name itself is a storm. You can see the figure of storm. It is quite terrible, which can shake anyone's faith, because it is such environment, or it is we can say environmental phenomena which can destroy many things. So let us go through the introduction part. Dear students, you can see it is shaking and destroying the figures, the trees, the plants, everything. Here it says, weathering the storm in Erasma, not all over the places of that particular, but then some place of the village was completely occupied by this storm. It's a story about a boy named Prashant and his encounter with the super and cyclone. Okay, super cyclone we can say. Dear student, Prashant is the character who plays a role to explain or to narrate the cyclone, because he goes somewhere to meet his friend and he encounters terrible situation. Prashant goes to meet his friends. Where does he go? He goes to a place which is 18 kilometers away from his home. He goes to meet his friends. The place is 18 kilometers away from his home, and he has to encounter the terrible cyclone, floods the area, and Prashant and his friends and family have to stay at the rooftop for 2 days to save their lives. There is no other way. He has to remain safe, or he has to be safe. In order to remain safe, he and his friends, family members, all remain on the top of the roof. Okay, he manages to reach his village with a great difficulty, and he is happy to see his family safe. How did he manage the people to make them sit or make them remain in a safe place? He becomes the leader of his village. He becomes the leader of his village and forms a team of volunteers. He was sensitive person, and he takes some responsibility on him in order to secure, or in order to keep the people safe. And he also start gathering some volunteers in the sense the person who are ready to help willingly without hesitation, which helps in getting food for the victims and cleaning the overcrowded shelter. Victims, people who are affected by this flood. Prashant is there to take care of them along with his volunteers. About the character, dear student, you can see the figure or the image. When there is nothing left out, Prashant and his friends, they go to meet people, and they start distributing food, packets of food and the clothes and everything. Prashant, he is a 19-year-old boy. Let us get into the story. He is 19-year-old boy who lives in a village named Kalikuda in the coastal area of Orissa. This is an incident of Orissa, a name Kalikuda. Prashant's friend lives in coastal town of Orissa called Erisma. That means this Prashant, he lives in Kalikuda, and then his friends live in Erisma, which is 18 kilometers from Kalikuda. But he is familiar with his friends, and he takes initiative to go and meet his friends to Erisma. Dear students, let us get into the main points. See, story begins like this. Prashant goes to Erisma on 27th October. This is the date he selects to go to Erisma and meet his friends. It was in the year 1999. He goes to meet his friend. Yes, he goes to meet his friends. It was 7 years after his mother's death. Mother's death means his mother was expired, and now the time has been passed. It was 7 years. His friend lives in the coastal town of Erisma. This is a location or village, name of the village where his friends reside. It is 18 kilometers from Prashant's village Kalikuda where Prashant lives, and Erisma where his friends live. Cyclone hits Erisma. Unfortunately, the Erisma, or the place Erisma, has to encounter cyclone. It was a terrible cyclone. People cannot face. Even trees, plants and houses, strong things, they are also helpless in such condition, because the cyclone was very terrible. It was very fearful and terrible. A cyclone storm hits Erisma that evening and continues for 36 hours. It was not stopped just for a short period, but then it went on for 36 hours. In this condition, it was very difficult for all the family members as well as Prashant's friends to manage, because it is a matter of surviving in such situation. It is accompanied by the continuous and heavy rains. Not only this cyclone, along with cyclone, it was also experienced heavy rains. This results in flooding of town. Because of heavy rain, there was flood. Because of heavy rain, they happened to experience floods also. As a result, Prashant and his friends' family gather at the rooftop of the house to save their lives. Now the question remains, or the question is, how to save their lives, because they don't have food, they do not have shelter, just they are remaining at the rooftop in order to save themselves. But in this situation, they do not have food. They stay there for 2 days with empty stomach, difficult to survive. They had to stayed over there for 2 days. They eat coconuts. It was good that they had something to eat, just coconut water from the coconut trees, and that had fallen on the rooftop. It was also fallen, coconut trees. In the beginning we saw the images of coconut tree, how they were about to fall down. Next, say destruction caused by cyclone. How? What are the things destroyed because of cyclone, which they are here we are going to encounter, we are going to study. The 350 km per hour, this was the speed of cyclone. What you can see, 360 km per hour winds accompanying the cyclone, and it destroyed everything. Dear students, you can imagine or you can think of cyclone which comes with such speed 350 kilometers per hour. That means it cannot, it can destroy anything, even big buildings, even big trees, strong trees also can be destroyed by such speed of cyclone. Water has spread everywhere, no doubt, because cyclone was accompanied by heavy rains. So water has spread everywhere. Houses were broken and trees had fallen. These houses, see, houses had broken and the trees had fallen down. Dead animals and human bodies were floating everywhere. If you see, come outside or see from the top of the house or from rooftop, you can just see bodies were floating on the surface of water. Bodies of trees, bodies of human beings, bodies of animals. All the bodies were floating on the surface of the water. Prashant decides to go to his village now. The cyclone was about to stop and Prashant is relaxed. Prashant and his friends all were relaxed. Prashant decided to go to his village. Though there was a flood, but Prashant has dared to go to his village. Prashant is worried about the well-being of his family. Yes, dear students, you and me also are included with the Prashant's thought, because Prashant is just a boy and he has feeling towards his family member, and he thinks that he should go and meet his family members, how their condition, what are the situation in his village. Hence he decides to go to his village, although the place is still flooded. The place was completely occupied for plenty of water, but he takes decision to go to his village. With what? And he takes a long stick to help him locate the road. Yes, locate the road in the sense, dear student, he takes a long stick so that he can take a stick, so that he can find out the correct way, because he will take this, he will just find out the way with the help of stick. So he decides to take a stick also in his hand, and has to swim when he loses the road, when there is no road. He is finding out or he will find out road with the help of a stick. If he finds that there is no road, then he has no other way just to swim except swimming. On the way, he has to push away many dead bodies. Yes, wherever he swims, he happens to meet dead bodies, and what does he do? He sweep them away, he push them away of human and animals to make his way. With a great difficulty, he covers the distance of 18 kilometers and reaches his village. He faces a lot of difficulty while swimming, but apart from all these difficulties, he pushes his dead bodies, he pushes the animal dead bodies, and he makes his way to go towards his village. Prashant's family relieved to see him. Now you can see here, Prashant's family relieved to see him when Prashant appeared in front of his family. All family members, they relieved, or they felt happy to see Prashant alive. His family members are happy and relieved to see him, as they had given him up for dead. Yes, before they were thinking that Prashant would have died because of Erasmus flood or storm. But now when Prashant is in front of them, they felt relieved and they are happy. Prashant was also happy to see all his family members safe and sound in the Red Cross camp. Yes, this is a camp when there is some natural calamities, this type of groups, they help the people to remain in a safe place. So Red Cross was there to take care of his family members, and Prashant also felt so happy. 86 people died in Prashant's village. Not yes, many people, but then just 86 people died in his village in the cyclone, and people who had survived the cyclone took refuge in the Red Cross shelter, as all the houses has been destroyed by the cyclone. Refugee here, dear student, the people who had died, the family members of the house had died, and some of family members were alive. They were taken care of by the Red Cross. Now here Prashant becomes leader at the shelter where in Erisma they were having a terrible cyclone. And there was a terrible cyclone. People were afraid. They were frightened quietly, very terribly, and they were not about to go outside. So in such case, Prashant is there to encourage them, to make them happy. How? By giving certain things. See, Prashant stays at the shelter as his house has been destroyed by the cyclone. Okay, the shelter is dirty and overcrowded. Okay, dear student, here the shelter is quite dirty and also overcrowded, because everywhere water was sprayed, and some places were empty or some places were safe. So people gathered and made them overcrowded. The victims in the shelter are wounded and hungry. This thing happened. See here, the victims, the people were affected by this terrible cyclone, by this terrible flood. So they did not have shelter. They were wounded and hungry. There was no food. Prashant takes on the responsibility of helping them by organizing a group of youths and elders, and pressurized the grain merchant to give rice for the hungry people. Prashant start making a group of volunteers, and he energized the members of the group, and he takes them to market to buy rice. And some merchants, they were not agree, or they were not giving food. So he also asked them, he appealed them to provide some food for the people who are affected, or who had been hungry for many days. So that is how Prashant takes a good responsibility on him. He cleans the shelter and helps the victims. Cleans the shelter, and also he helps the victims to get food. The orphans in the shelter are handed over to childless widows, so that they would get proper love and care. The children who left, or who missed, or who lost their parents, they were handed over to mothers, so that at least mothers can feel the pain of the child, and she will take care of. The men in the shelter, while the women were work for the food for work program started by an NGO. You can see, dear student, food for work. This type of program was started by an NGO. Now after 6 months, what happened? After 6 months of the devastation of cyclone, Prashant is feeling better. 6 months, till 6 months, Prashant Prashant and his friends, they had been working without selfless, okay, selfish attitude. They had been working for the welfare of people, and now they are relaxed because the cyclone and the flood was about to stop. His wounded spirit has healed as he did not have time to think about his pain. Okay. The widows and orphans of his village seek his help whenever they are in trouble. Thus Prashant encourage the affection for needy people, teach us to stand bold and cool in hard times. In the last sentences we learn the lesson of this lesson. If there is a tough situation, difficult situation, how we need to stand by the people. See, the widows and the orphans of his village seek his help. People they were coming in order to seek help from Prashant, because you can see Prashant was a hope for the people. Prashant was helping, or he was helping hand for the people who were in trouble. So they are in trouble, people were in trouble, and they they seek help from Prashant. Thus Prashant encouraged the affection. Prashant, with the help of affection for needy people, teach us to stand bold and cool in hard times. When there is a hard time, we need to stand bold. We should not discourage ourselves, but then we need to stand bold and also cool. At a time we start complaining, we start criticizing. Yes, we are human being, we have this attitude, but we need to just remain cool and stand bold, so that we can face whatever situation or the time. Of course there are ups and downs in everyone's life, but it is we who have to take care of, or we need to understand the situation and work according to the situation. Dear students, let us get in. There are two questions, value based question I have prepared for you. How did Prashant, a teenager, help the people of his village? Prashant was not a grown up man, but he helps the village, he helps the people. And what did Prashant do for the orphans, widows and orphans? Widows, the women who have lost their children, and the orphans, the children who have lost their mothers. Even though the Prashant was not grown up man, but he takes initiative, or he shows interest to help widows and also orphans. So I ask you to understand the chapter, and also request you to go through the lesson and try to answer the question in your own language, so that at least you will understand the chapter. Prashant has done a lot of things in this lesson, but now it is your responsibility or your time to do something, because we can see many people are struggling to get up, or many people are having a lot of difficulties in their life, but we do not take care of them, or we just try to neglect, or we ignore them. But it is a time where we can contribute something from our side. So with this I conclude my this lecture. Thank you very much.